You may think you've got everything figured out about your body by now. But what if I told you that the way you've been masturbating after the age of 60 might actually be doing more harm than good? You're not alone. Millions of older men unknowingly make the same mistakes that slowly erode their sexual health, energy, and even emotional well-being. Today, we're uncovering the truth. And trust me, you need to hear this. Why this topic matters. As we age, our bodies go through major changes, physically, hormonally, and emotionally. Testosterone levels naturally decline, blood circulation slows, and sensitivity decreases. It's no secret that many men experience challenges with libido, erectile function, and emotional intimacy after 60. Yet, despite these changes, sexual desire often remains, and masturbation becomes not only a form of release, but also a way to stay connected with one's body and sense of masculinity. However, old habits that worked in our 20s or 30s might not serve us anymore. In fact, some of them can quietly contribute to fatigue, erectile dysfunction, numbness, or emotional distress. That's why understanding the right approach to self-pleasure after 60 is more important than ever. Common masturbation mistakes. After 60 mistake. 1. Using excessive pressure or aggressive techniques. As men age, it's natural to experience a decline in penile sensitivity. In response, many older men unconsciously begin to apply more pressure during masturbation to recreate the same level of sensation they experienced in their youth. This overcompensation might seem like a reasonable solution at first, but over time, it can lead to more harm than good. When excessive pressure is used on the penis, and especially on a regular basis, it places unnecessary stress on blood vessels, capillaries, and the delicate skin of the genital area. This can lead to microtrauma, inflammation, and over time even permanent desensitization. Nerve endings may become less responsive, making it harder to achieve or maintain arousal during both masturbation and intercourse. Additionally, excessive friction can cause irritation, skin tears, or contribute to conditions like Peyronie's disease, which involves painful curvature due to scar tissue. Another consequence of aggressive stimulation is its psychological impact. When the body becomes accustomed to a very intense, forceful type of stimulation, it may become less responsive to lighter, more natural touch, including during partnered sex. This creates a disconnect between solo and shared experiences, leading to frustration, performance anxiety, or withdrawal from intimacy. The good news is that this pattern can be reversed. Advice. First and foremost, be gentle with yourself. Literally. Shift your focus from performance to sensation. Using a high-quality water-based lubricant can dramatically reduce friction and enhance comfort. Rather than relying on speed or pressure, experiment with varying rhythms, hand positions, and movement styles. You may even find that slower, more intentional movements increase overall pleasure and connection. Consider taking short breaks during the session to allow blood flow and arousal to build naturally. This can help retrain your body to respond to a wider range of sensations, ultimately restoring sensitivity over time. And don't underestimate the power of your mind. Integrating fantasy, breathwork, or even mindful meditation can deepen your experience. Finally, if you notice numbness, discomfort, or signs of injury, don't ignore them. Consult a urologist or men's health specialist to ensure there are no underlying issues. Remember, your body is still capable of pleasure. It just needs to be treated with the care, patience, and respect it deserves. Mistake 2. Masturbating. Out of habit, not desire. For many men over 60, masturbation can become less about pleasure and more about routine. It might be something done at the same time each day, like brushing your teeth. While routines can be helpful in daily life, When it comes to sexual activity, they can also lead to a loss of genuine arousal and emotional engagement. Masturbating out of habit, especially when driven by boredom, anxiety, or loneliness, detaches the act from your authentic sexual energy. Over time, this can cause the brain to associate self-pleasure with mechanical, unfulfilling sensations rather than intimate connection or joy. When masturbation becomes a mindless reflex, it loses its power to nourish you emotionally, mentally, and even physically. In addition, habitual masturbation can interfere with your body's natural cycles of desire and recovery. It may create a sense of numbness not just physically but psychologically, reducing anticipation, curiosity, and fantasy. This state is sometimes referred to as pleasure fatigue, where stimulation no longer feels stimulating, simply because it has become too predictable. This mistake also plays into emotional detachment. If you're using masturbation to escape uncomfortable feelings like loneliness, stress, or sadness, without addressing their root causes, it can become a coping mechanism that masks deeper needs for connection or fulfillment. Advice. The key here is mindfulness. Before initiating self-pleasure, ask yourself, do I truly feel aroused, or am I just trying to kill time or distract myself? Waiting until you're genuinely curious, excited, or emotionally present can dramatically increase the quality of your experience. Create a mental and emotional space for the act. Focus on sensation, not just release. You might also try varying your environment, timing, or approach to break habitual patterns. Perhaps change the time of day, use a different setting, or incorporate sensual elements like music, lighting, or guided relaxation. Masturbation after 60 should feel nourishing, not automatic. It's an opportunity to reconnect with your body, listen to your emotions, and enjoy an act of self-love that brings actual satisfaction, not just a routine climax. Mistake 3. Ignoring physical readiness. One of the most overlooked aspects of healthy masturbation is timing, specifically whether your body is actually ready for the experience. Many older men fall into the habit of masturbating when their body is in a compromised state, immediately after eating a heavy meal, during times of emotional exhaustion, or even right before bed when energy levels are already depleted. Why is this a problem? When your body is digesting, it diverts blood flow to your stomach and away from other parts of your body, including your genitals. This can reduce sensitivity and lead to weak or incomplete erections, resulting in a less satisfying experience. Similarly, if you're fatigued or under stress, your nervous system may not be primed for sexual arousal, making the act feel forced or unfulfilling. Stress hormones like cortisol also play a role. Elevated cortisol levels, common during times of anxiety or tension, can suppress testosterone and interfere with the hormonal cascade required for healthy arousal and climax. Trying to masturbate during these states can not only lead to physical discomfort, but may also reinforce a negative emotional association with self-pleasure. Advice. The best approach is to tune into your body and choose times when you're naturally relaxed, present, and open to sensation. For some men, this might be after light stretching or a warm shower. For others, it may be early in the morning or during a calm afternoon. The key is to avoid forcing the act when your body is clearly signaling that it needs rest, food digestion, or emotional balance. Also consider preparing your environment. A quiet, clean, and comfortable space can significantly enhance your readiness. Dim lighting, soft music, or aromatherapy can help set the tone. These aren't luxuries. They are tools for helping your body ease into a state where touch feels more inviting and rewarding. If you frequently find yourself attempting to masturbate during times of stress or fatigue, Ask yourself why. Are you trying to use the act to escape discomfort? If so, consider whether a nap, a walk, or journaling might serve you better in the moment. Self-awareness is a form of self-respect, and learning to honor your body's rhythms will improve not only your solo experiences, but your overall well-being. Breakdown. Respecting physical readiness, you elevate masturbation from a habit to a holistic practice, one that nourishes rather than drains, one that heals rather than frustrates. Mistake 4. Watching overstimulating content. In our digital age, access to adult content is easier and more abundant than ever. While this may seem like a benefit, especially for older men who may no longer have regular access to physical intimacy, there's a hidden cost. Over time, constant exposure to high-intensity, fast-paced adult material can alter the brain's reward system and create a disconnect between what arouses you on a screen and what arouses you in real life. This kind of content often relies on novelty, extreme scenarios, and rapid visual stimulation. As a result, your brain starts to crave more and more intensity to feel the same level of excitement. This phenomenon is known as tolerance, similar to how someone may need more caffeine or sugar over time to achieve the same effect. For older men, whose sensitivity is already reduced due to natural aging, this can further diminish responsiveness and make it harder to enjoy natural, slower, or emotionally connected forms of pleasure. Additionally, regular consumption of overstimulating content can condition the brain to associate arousal with fantasy situations that are unlikely or even impossible in real life. This can lead to disappointment, anxiety, or lack of interest during partnered sex. It may even contribute to a sense of isolation, as the individual becomes increasingly reliant on solo stimulation driven by artificial stimuli, rather than authentic emotional or physical connection. Advice. One way to counteract this is to gradually shift your attention away from high-stimulation content. Try turning off the screen entirely and focusing on the sensations in your body. Use your imagination, recall a meaningful memory, or experiment with audio content or erotica that allows your mind to stay active and engaged without overstimulation. Another strategy is to practice edging, the technique of bringing yourself close to climax and then pausing. This helps train the brain and body to respond to more subtle forms of arousal and can rebuild sensitivity over time. Remember, there's nothing inherently wrong with adult content, but like any tool, it should be used mindfully and in moderation. The goal is to stay in tune with your body's signals and maintain a connection between arousal, intimacy, and self-awareness, rather than relying solely on external stimulation. By reducing reliance on overstimulating content, you create space for deeper, more satisfying, and emotionally fulfilling experiences. That shift alone can reinvigorate not just your solo life, but your overall sexual confidence. Mistake 5. Neglecting the pelvic floor. The pelvic floor is a group of muscles that support the bladder, bowel, and sexual organs. While it's commonly discussed in the context of women's health, these muscles are just as important for men, especially as they age. Unfortunately, many older men don't even realize they have a pelvic floor, let alone understand how vital it is to sexual health and performance. As men get older, the pelvic floor naturally weakens. This can lead to a range of issues, such as urinary leakage, difficulty maintaining erections, and reduced ejaculatory control. When the pelvic muscles are underused or weakened, it becomes harder to generate and sustain the kind of muscular engagement that supports healthy sexual function. During masturbation, weak pelvic muscles may cause the experience to feel less intense or more difficult to control. For some men, This results in premature ejaculation or the inability to climax fully. Over time, this can affect confidence and contribute to feelings of frustration, inadequacy, or even embarrassment. Advice. The great news is that the pelvic floor is highly trainable, even well into your senior years. One of the best ways to strengthen it is through a simple practice known as Kegel exercises. To identify the right muscles, imagine you're trying to stop the flow of urine midstream. That squeezing motion is your pelvic floor in action. Start with 5-second contractions followed by 5 seconds of rest. Repeat 10 times, gradually increasing as you get stronger. Aim to do this daily. The beauty of Kegels is that they can be done anywhere, sitting, standing, or lying down, and no one will ever know you're doing them. Incorporating these exercises into your routine can lead to stronger erections, better control over ejaculation, and even improved bladder health. You might also find that you become more in tune with your body, gaining awareness and sensitivity that enhances your solo and partnered experiences. If you've never paid attention to your pelvic floor before, now is the time. Treat it as part of your overall sexual wellness, just like diet, exercise, or mental health. It's a small change that can have a big payoff, not just in the bedroom but in your daily confidence and vitality. Mistake 6. Feeling shame or guilt. About masturbation, for many men raised in conservative or traditional households, messages about masturbation were often negative, rooted in shame, sin, or secrecy. As a result, even decades later, these internalized beliefs can surface as guilt, especially when engaging in self-pleasure during older adulthood. Some men may feel embarrassed, immoral, or too old to still have sexual desires, leading to emotional tension and even avoidance of the act altogether. This guilt, while understandable, can be deeply harmful. It interferes with relaxation, reduces overall pleasure, and may contribute to a cycle of negative self-talk. In some cases, it can manifest physically, through erectile dysfunction, performance anxiety, or premature ejaculation, all stemming from an unconscious belief that what you're doing is somehow wrong or inappropriate. It's important to recognize that masturbation is a natural, healthy form of sexual expression at any age. In fact, it can play a vital role in maintaining prostate health, reducing stress, aiding sleep, and supporting hormonal balance. Moreover, it's a private, safe way to remain in touch with your sensuality and humanity. Feeling guilty about a normal, healthy function of the body isn't something you have to carry into your later years. You are allowed to experience pleasure, you are allowed to feel desire, and you are certainly allowed to explore your body in ways that make you feel alive, respected, and cared for. Advice. Begin by challenging the source of your shame. Ask yourself, where did this belief come from? Does it still serve me? Reflect on whether it was influenced by outdated religious teachings, social taboos, or misinformation. Then, replace those narratives with facts. Medical professionals across the world agree that masturbation is not only safe, but beneficial when practiced in moderation. You may also benefit from talking to a therapist or counselor who specializes in men's health or aging. Sometimes just hearing someone affirm your experience can be incredibly freeing. Finally, practice reframing your thoughts. Instead of viewing masturbation as something dirty or selfish, consider it a form of self-care, no different from exercising, meditating, or eating well. You are not broken for wanting to connect with your body. You are human. Letting go of shame is not just about sex. It's about reclaiming joy, agency, and dignity at any age. Mistake 7. Skipping aftercare and hygiene. Masturbation, like any other intimate activity, requires attention not just to the act itself but also to what happens afterward. Unfortunately, many older men neglect this crucial step. Skipping aftercare and hygiene may seem harmless, but it can lead to discomfort, infections, or even long-term health issues, especially as the skin becomes thinner and more sensitive with age. After masturbation, sweat, semen, and friction can leave behind bacteria or irritants on the skin. If not properly cleaned, this can cause itching, redness, or infections in the genital area. Men who are uncircumcised should be particularly diligent about cleaning under the foreskin to prevent buildup of smegma, which can lead to odor and inflammation. Additionally, older adults often experience drier skin due to hormonal changes and natural aging. Masturbation without proper lubrication, or failure to moisturize afterward, can worsen skin dryness and cause micro-tears. These small irritations may go unnoticed but can become uncomfortable or increase the risk of infection if left untreated. Advice: make hygiene a non-negotiable part of your self-pleasure routine. After each session, gently wash the genital area with warm water and a mild, unscented soap. Pat dry with a clean towel. Avoid rubbing. If you used lubricant, ensure it's fully rinsed off, especially if it's not water-based. Moisturizing. Afterward, with a fragrance-free lotion or specialized product designed for sensitive skin, can help maintain skin elasticity and comfort. Think of it as aftercare for a massage. Your body deserves that same respect and care. Also consider cleaning. Any tools or objects used during the session, wash them thoroughly with soap and warm water, and allow them to dry fully before storage. This not only prevents bacterial growth, but also prolongs the lifespan of the item. Proper aftercare isn't just about cleanliness. It's a form of self-respect, a way of signaling to yourself that your body is worth tending to. As we age, small acts of care like this become more important, not less. Don't overlook them. A clean, cared-for body isn't just healthier. It's more responsive, more comfortable, and more confident. And confidence is one of the most attractive qualities a man can carry into any aspect of life, solo or partnered. Let's take a step back and look at what we've uncovered. Masturbation after 60 isn't just possible. It can be incredibly rewarding, healthy, and empowering. But to truly benefit from it, you need to understand how your body and mind have changed and adapt your habits accordingly. You've learned about the physical